Good morning. Welcome back to the loft. Here with our favorite co-host, Lemon. I have made an exciting purchase, and I probably should have made the purchase a 2-3 years ago because I have been thinking about it for at least that long. I got a new tent from Z-Packs. I got the Plex Solo. The reason I finally decided to pull the trigger and spend the money for a Z-Packs tent was the large quantity of rain that fell on the trail when I was hiking the Appalachian Trail on the big section hike. There were 2 days of heavy rain, one of which I didn't even hike on. It's bad enough that you have to hike in the rain, but then I just had this underlying anxiety that the tent that I was hiking with would not hold up well in that amount of rain, which then made me want to stay in a shelter. And I'm really thankful for the shelters, but the problem with the shelters is that they are very crowded in the hiking season, and you're not guaranteed a spot in the shelter. And I just didn't trust that my tent would hold up to that amount of rain, particularly because my rain gear, like the rain gear doesn't hold up to that amount of rain. Like, rain gear eventually gets saturated through. And I was hearing stories from other people who did set up their tents in the rain, and the people that had Sil nylon tents were telling stories of being rained on all night long in some variety. The only truly water repellent, watertight tents out there are made of DCF. And so I would like to stay in my tent more. And it's just more comfortable in a tent because you have actually got room to spread out. You're not bumping into people. And so, yeah, I made the big purchase, and I gotta find a place to set it up so I can show it to you. Plus, I gotta figure out how to set it up so I can show it to you. I came down to the park that's like a 5-minute walk from my apartment, and I'm gonna set the tent up. So the tent is a trekking pole tent. It requires one trekking pole that can extend to 52 inches. And that leads me to the next gear switch. I was using Black Diamond trekking poles with cork handle grips that did not extend to 52 inches. So I actually donated my trekking poles to another hiker who was through hiking the trail and only had one pole, and purchased a new set of trekking poles. These are trekking poles I got off of Amazon from a company called Foxelli. It's a small family-owned business. They're carbon fiber, so they are lighter than the Black Diamonds that I was using. They do extend to 52 inches, and yeah, they are much lighter than the Black Diamonds, and they have cork handles. So, and they were half the price of Black Diamond trekking poles. I think I only paid $60 for these, and they get amazing reviews on Amazon. So yeah, check that company out, Foxelli. And okay, so 1 trekking pole to set up the tent, and I think you need a minimum of 6 stakes to set up the tent. And I think it uses up to 10, but let's find out. So here you have it. It's not that hard to set up at all. And you have the extra guy lines here to stake out if it's windy. These extra guy lines. And I think that looks pretty good. So I used 6 stakes, 4 on the corners, 1 in the back, 1 in the front, and then you have the 4 extra tie outs, so up to 10 stakes. And then I do like the storm doors that are looped, and if the weather is good, Z-Packs recommends leaving 1 door open and just tying that out. Here's the inside. There's plenty of headroom for a tiny person like me. The nice thing about the floor is you don't need to use a ground sheet with this, because the floor is the higher thickness of Dyneema. Then you can also raise the floor for rain, and then basically what that does is lift the bathtub floor up so that I probably would stake them all out. That leaves the condensation to roll down the tent and then drip out of the screen so that you don't get wet inside your tent. There's also a mesh pocket in here, and then there's extra tape, Dyneema tape, to make patches and things. Cool. My tent has a number, 2861839. Does that mean they've made 2,861,839 tents? If so, that's amazing. All right, let me finish putting out the other stakes. So I have the rest of the wall staked out, and I just think there's probably a bit of a learning curve to get it to be just right. But I'm like on my knees right now, and that peak, my arm is almost completely stretched out on my knees. I'm not standing on my knees, but I'm sitting on my feet on my knees, and my arm, that's how much headroom there is in here. The other thing that I like about this tent is the rainbow door. It allows you to sleep with your head at either end of the tent. You can throw your gear kind of back here, and then you can see how when you raise the floor, it creates like a little shelf that, like I said, again, I'm not sure if I have it staked out completely correctly. But I don't have any doubts that I'll get the hang of it. I like it. I think it's gonna be a great addition to my kit. I went with a Plex Solo because I'm a tiny person and I don't share my tent with anybody or anything, and I'm 5 feet tall. This thing I think will fit somebody that is 6 feet tall at the very least. There's what it looks like with both doors open for ventilation. I like it. There you have it. Zpacks Plex Solo. Look forward to getting it out on the trail and letting you know how it goes. See you next time. P.S. I completely forgot to mention that the Plex Solo only weighs 13.7 ounces.